number 3, we have to write an equation that is perpendicular to the one that's given. Perpendicular, we have to change this slope. So take it and flip it. It's already negative, make it positive. And then keep the y-intercept the same, change it, it doesn't matter. Other questions? So here we have to use our point slope formula. If it's parallel, we have to know we're using the same slope. Ignore the y-intercept that they gave you, and then put it in your equation, which is on the vocab wall if you still need it. Y minus our y1 equals our slope, and then x minus x1. Distribute, and you can use your calculator to help you with that. Double check your math for negatives and numbers and things like that. And then add 1 to both sides. So y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 4 would be your final answer. With 9, you have to find the original slope and y-intercept of the line that's given. So slope is negative because it's going down and to the right or up and to the left, depending on how you're looking at it. Y-intercept is at 2. For part A, we need to make an equation that is parallel to the one that's given. So it has to be the same slope with a different y-intercept. So you can make it the opposite. You can choose a different number. Either or, it doesn't matter.
How did you get n equals negative 3?
So I'm looking for all the points that cross the grid lines exactly. So there was 1 at 2, and then I just found any other points and counted. And then for B, perpendicular. So take the slope you have, flip it. It was already negative, make it positive. And then you can choose the same y-intercept, different y-intercept, doesn't matter. Seven, yes. So for 7, it's similar to 5, but we're looking for perpendicular now. So we have to take this slope and flip it. It's already negative, so we're going to make it positive. We're going to ignore the y-intercept that is given and use the point. So y minus 5 equals 1 over 4 times x minus 4. So once you have that set up, the process is the same. Distribute. Again, use your calculator, double check your math, and then get y by itself by moving this to the other side. So that would be your equation and your answer. While we're looking for other questions, get out your calculator instruction sheet. If you don't have that, I do have extras. still attached to your notes. Go ahead and tear off that first piece.
I see.
That's now.
That's how you use how many monkeys.
Just
And then something you take that into like a drawing.
Okay.
Do you know what that word means?
No.
Any other questions we want to go over? Have questions about? Need to review? This is your last chance to ask. So if you still have questions, please ask. With 10, you're looking for which of these best fit this equation. So say, look at the slope first, see if it's positive or negative. This one is negative, so anything that's positive we can get rid of. And then if you need to, draw this onto these graphs to see which one best fits it. And you're looking for, of the two, which one does the points surround the line the best, and that would be D. Any other question on here, you're going to follow your calculator instructions step by step. When you are answering your questions, make sure you're putting labels. So for this one, seconds, and things like that. Any other questions? With your word problems, define your variables first because that'll help you see what type of equation you have. If you see the word per at all, you have M. If you see something about a one-time fee, admittance fee, entrance fee, deposit, something you only pay for or do once, that is your B. And if you're given M and B, then you're given X or Y or both. So you have to figure out which is which. And if you're not sure, ask yourself, does number of games depend on cost, or would cost depend on number of games? Whichever depends on the other is your Y. So cost depends on number of games, so that would be your Y, which means number of games is X. Then you have your variables. This is going to be in the format y equals mx plus b. You can start writing that equation. Y equals m times x plus b, or some of you are putting this in point slope form. Either of those would be fine. That would be the equation you write down here. And then you would solve. I'm doing this off memory, so I don't know how accurate these decimals are. Solve it, and then put your final answer in the solution box. Make sure you label whatever you're looking for. Here we're looking for cost, so your label would be dollars. Any others? So for 16, look at what's given. I don't see the word per, so we're definitely not given M. I don't see anything about a one-time fee or something that's only charged once, so we're not given B. And I see 4 sets of numbers. Here, if I'm reading this, the square footage affects the cost. So the bigger the square footage, the more the cost is. Because they affect each other, this is going to be an input-output situation where one is X and one is Y. And then you have a choice. Either find your slope and your y-intercept / equation algebraically, and then use that equation to find your answer, or use your calculator instructions to find your equation and answer. Ari, which would you rather? Okay. So if we're putting this in the calculator, I would put in all my x's in L1, all of my y's in L2. If you don't have your calculator, go grab it. Elijah, go grab your calculator. Everyone look on the back of your calculator, see if you have number 8. So I think yours is. What number? Everyone look on the back of your calculator, see if you have 24. Give that to Anaya. I have this open, just not over here. Okay, so then we would put in our values for x, go into stat, enter for edit. I think this is the last problem I did in 7th grade. So 850, 1000, 1172, 1268, and y. Then on to step 2 on your instructions. Go into stat, scroll to the right for calculate, number 4 for linear regression, scroll down to store regression equation, hit alpha trace, and then enter until your screen changes. This would be the equation you write in your box. Y equals 0.64x plus 628. And you would say you use line of best fit to find it. And then to answer the question, this is also part of showing your work. I'm going to use the calculator, but you could also put this in for x and solve for y algebraically. I'm going to say that I stored this for x to show that I'm continuing to use the line of benefit. From this screen, I'm going to store 1200 for x. So I'm going to type in 1200, STO, x, and enter. And then alpha trace, and then enter twice. And 1396 would be my final answer for that. We're looking for cost, so that should be dollars. Other questions on that? Other questions in general or on this page or anything like that? With 17, look at what's given. You have nickels and dimes. They don't affect each other. They are two different things being compared. So we have to use our ax plus by equals c. So not y equals mx plus b. Define your variables. C is always the total. A and B won't be given because it's assumed you know this information, what the nickels and dimes are worth. Make sure you're writing decimals and the correct decimals. And then your x and y just have to relate to A and B. So since A is nickels, x has to be related to nickels, so number of nickels is x. And then B is dimes, so 46 dimes has to be related to y. And then you would write all of those pieces of information into an equation. So A is 0.05, x we don't know, and then B is 0.10, y is 46, and then our total is 549. That would be your equation. Then you could solve it. After you divide, you should get a whole number, since we're looking for number of nickels. Make sure your answer makes sense. If you get decimals and it's asking for number of nickels, that's not something that would make sense, so double check your work. Other questions on that yet?
How do you know which one is x and y?
It really doesn't matter, it just has to relate to this. So if you make dimes A, then dimes, number of dimes has to be y. They just have to go together. Other questions? So we're going to start this after lunch. So when you get back from lunch, make sure your phone is put up. Make sure you have your calculator